Joey only here hitting record on the 31st of January, 5 p.m. Looking at weather for the weekend here in BC. Lots of snowfall, cold, everything coming together. Now we got all the specifics for you. Plus, heightened avalanche risk this weekend with all this incoming snow. So let's get to the bad news right now. Let's go.
There it is.
This is bad news. My God.
All out right now.
Anything could happen.
Get on! Wow.
I'll watch the video later. They try mopping this. Quick shout out today to Mary Jane and Ann and all the people who support this channel, all the donors, all the subscribers, all the members, all the Patreon members. You're who is keeping me forecasting and growing this wonderful, wonderful channel. Got snowfall warnings up here in Prince George area. 10 centimeters expected today. Total snowfall of 10 centimeters expected by this evening. That's going on for you. And just a little bit to the west, snowfall warning for McGregor. 20 centimeters expected there. It's been snowing in the Caribou here a fair bit. We're just getting a little bit of a break now finally in Wells. The roads are pretty gross. It's hovering around zero still right now, so that's nice. 20 centimeters are expected by Saturday morning for that area on Highway 16 there that sort of butts into the Rockies. Meanwhile, down by North Columbia, Kinbasket, West Columbia, Trans-Canada, Eagle Pass to Rogers Pass, you could be expecting 20 to 35 centimeters in that winter storm by Saturday morning. It is happening, and that includes the pass. Winter storm warning ongoing for the Paulson. Could see 40 to 50 centimeters expected there by Saturday morning. Holy shnikes. That's a lot of snow. You guys are getting it good finally. I can hear a snowmobile going by my house right now. Well, that's really, really typical. People come here to sled. And I want to warn everybody not to just go tearing off into the mountains because there's fresh snow without remembering to do all our avalanche safety checks. Maybe it's not a great weekend for it. 25 to 35 centimeters for that Hope to Merit area. That pass there on Highway 5. Heavy snow overnight. Snowfall warning for Garibaldi, 25 centimeters expected there inland. If we go sort of that Highway 99, Sea to Sky area, 20 to 30 centimeters expected there. Rainfall warning for 50 mils continues down there. And we do have by Victoria a wind warning still in effect. That hasn't changed. 100 kilometer, 90 they're saying today, 90 kilometer gusts over the Juan de Fuca Strait. Special weather statement encompassing most of the lower mainland about the wintry mix expected to impact the south coast. Tonight, cold front is moving across the region this afternoon and early this evening. Areas like East Vancouver Island and Sunshine Coast will see quick bursts of heavy snow with the passage of the cold front. Be advised for sudden changes in road conditions. Heavy flurries and cold temperatures will take over this weekend as Arctic air invades the region and an upper low brings the moisture. Be advised for sudden reduction in visibility and convective flurries if traveling around the south coast this weekend. Accumulations are uncertain. Meteorologist Mark thinks we're going to get quite a bit down there. Next week, you're going to see very cold and dry air on the south coast with outflow conditions from an Arctic ridge of high pressure settling over the region. Temperatures will be 5 to 8 degrees Celsius below seasonal for you. Isn't that lovely? Just a little bit below seasonal for you. Now, across Canada, there's a lot more going on out there. This snowfall warning still continues off to taper by Saturday through areas north and east of Edmonton. Still got extreme cold up there in the north. Got some snowfall situations expected this weekend in Saskatchewan. Blowing snow advisory because of that low. Probably not as much snow as blowing snow, but nonetheless, fog advisory near zero right now in Alberta. That will probably clear itself up. Over in Ontario, we got right across that central area, extreme cold warning of minus 30 wind chill values for areas just north of Toronto, maybe even including, I'm sure areas in Toronto are going to see some really, really cold temperatures. So really concerned for people who got to sleep outside and people who got to get to work and rely on public transit and got to stand out there. 38 degree wind chill up in Quebec there. Extreme cold everywhere. Extreme cold, minus 35 in New Brunswick. They've been having extreme cold for a while. And that cold air running across that warm ocean is the reason we've been having these snow squalls, ongoing snow squalls, 50 to 70 kilometer an hour there in Fox Island River, Grossmore, and up through Rocky Harbor areas like that. Wind warning up along just to the south end of the Torn Gap Mountains in Newfoundland, Labrador. What is meteorologist Mark saying, by the way? He's saying possible high-end snow event for parts of Metro Vancouver Sunday to Monday. Pacific storm train is once again aimed at British Columbia with light rain falling to Metro Vancouver on early Friday morning when he wrote this. Cold air driving south from the Yukon into the BC interior through the weekend will drop temperatures enough in the lower mainland to talk about snowfall beginning Sunday afternoon and lasting into Monday. A note. Before we get into specifics, this is a highly dynamic forecast. Small shifts in the position of certain weather features will create large shifts in observed snowfall. Additionally, this may be a situation where parts of the metro only gets a few centimeters of snow, while others exceed 20 centimeters, not that far away. My goal is to provide enough context here to give readers a good grasp on the dynamics and the possibilities. This is one of those low confidence but high impact forecasts. In reality, we probably won't know who will get what until the event starts. Low pressure is forecast to slide down the British Columbia coast before parking off the Olympic Peninsula on Monday. This low will generate convective snow showers, and some of them will be strong. Since the snow will be showery in nature, instead of covering a large area at once like a cold front, conditions will vary greatly from place to place. Adding to this, low-level winds may create a convergence zone over Metro Vancouver. When this happens, wind moving in different directions crashes into each other. If it is forced upward, it enhances cloud formation to generate heavier precipitation. The Seattle area is famous among meteorologists for this convergence zone. When winds are out of the west, they split to go around the Olympic Mountains and come back together, usually between Seattle and Everett, to form a narrow corridor, like you see right here in this nice diagram he's made. Sunday into Monday, low-level winds will be traveling southish to northish across western Washington. They'll have to go around the Olympic Mountains and come back together somewhere near Metro Vancouver. It looks like additional lift will be provided from offshore winds coming from the Fraser Plateau. It looks like there'll be a 65% chance of this convergence zone set up. The question becomes who will be under it. ECMWF puts the band of heavy snow along a line from White Rock to Maple Ridge. Meanwhile, Weather Channel's graph model runs it from Point Roberts across Richmond and Vancouver to Grouse Mountain. Under every scenario so far, Mark has seen Abbotsford and Bellingham are left out of the party. Snow showers are likely there, but the convergence zone looks like a Metro Vancouver affair. Point Roberts, Blaine, and Ferndale may come under the convergence zone as well. Because these convergence zones bring heavy precipitation and park over one area for several hours at a time, snowfall totals under it may fall in the 10 to 20 centimeter range. Isolated totals in excess of 30 centimeters are possible. Outside the convergence zone, it could be, 5 to 10 centimeters or 2 to 4 inches. The mountains likely will get loaded with snow. It was already cold enough for snow down to Simon Fraser University on Thursday. Low snow levels and convective precipitation are excellent for strong snowfall. At 8 Friday, Mount Seymour was reporting 36 centimeters of new snow in the last 24 hours. That's quite a bit, actually. Other convergence zones reappear, possibly in the region, both to the south in Washington, further up through the Strait of Georgia. Heavy snow in the mountains will make travel difficult as well. Use caution when looking at individual weather models because, these show possible solutions, but in this weather regime, they fail to provide the necessary context. Any forecast, be it by humans or computer, that provides a single value for total snowfall will be wrong and may be wildly off. So there's just no one actually knows. There's a small chance that this will manifest itself as a cold rain. Mark doesn't think that's going to happen. The cold air inland will produce a modest Fraser outflow, a wind event beginning Sunday, lasting through maybe Tuesday. Gusty winds will be observed from Abbotsford to Victoria, including parts of Whatcom County and San Juan Islands. The outflow air is dry and probably will limit snowfall totals along the corridor to some extent. And it looks like cold air will be settled into British Columbia for some time. We're seeing a big change in Avalanche, Canada. Here, look at this. So, we've been seeing greens across the board for such a long, long time. And even Vancouver Island now has considerable danger through much of the weekend. Fresh snow is accumulating on unstable surfaces. You had hoarfrost and stuff forming on top in different layers, crusty layers on top, and now you have fresh snow on top of that. Deep, fresh storm slabs are sitting over a weak layer, creating dangerous avalanche conditions. Considerable all weekend, they expect, through much of these areas. Storm snow is building reactive slabs. Yep. Check on this forecaster's blog on the mindset following the storm. It's time to step back, he says. After a lengthy period of low avalanche danger for southern half of Western Canada, conditions are changing. It's now time to shift mindset in the backcountry. Many regions will undergo a major increase in avalanche danger as stormy weather returns. The past 3 weeks of dry condition form layers that new snow won't bond with. As new snow accumulates and forms slabs over these layers, we expect large and dangerous avalanches to be triggered both naturally and by humans. They will likely propagate across wide slopes. So he expects you to ask that you stick to dense forests or slopes shallower than 25 degrees where overhead hazards are not present. Dial back your terrain choices, please. Avoid avalanche terrain altogether as the new snow is accumulating. Stay away from terrain traps such as cliffs and gullies. Assess for conditions as you travel. Look for signs of instability, recent avalanches, wumping and shooting cracks. Consider that you can trigger an avalanche from a safe spot that releases on adjacent or overhead steeper slopes. Always be aware what is overhead and that there are other people around you possibly. Stay disciplined and don't let powder fever lure you into a terrain that's capable of producing large avalanches. Keep in mind that deeper slabs will likely be found in wind-exposed terrain, which means larger avalanches will happen if triggered. Ensure that each member of your group is engaged in disciplined terrain selection. Travel one at a time in exposed regions and regroup in safe spots away from avalanche hazards. We want to enjoy the snow. Remember to follow these travel tips. We know heavy snowfall is falling through that Highway 3 corridor, Rossland, Creston, Castlegar, all those high mountain passes around your towns. Travel in avalanche terrain is not recommended anywhere, really, and even the areas where we find ourselves into the incoming storm is driving the danger of avalanche, so we're in the considerable only for Saturday. Well, don't trust that. Don't trust anything right now. Here in the Caribou, not looking good. High danger for avalanches through the weekend. Up into Prince George region, high, all through that Highway 16 corridor. And then, maybe seeing a little bit of improvement as we look to the far west where they've had some considerable danger for quite a long time now. You're going to start seeing a little bit of improvement finally for you there. And we have another incident to report on. Cirque four-peak wind slab in the Central Rockies. That happened on Wednesday, January 19th. Let's find out what the story is on this one. I mean, this kind of proves my point here. This is the Icefields Parkway, right? This area, the danger that's listed right now, a combination of new snow. Look, it says, this isn't the area that we're looking on the map and saying, wow, looks really bad. But even then, before we had all this new snow on there, before they changed these updates to say maybe have new 20 centimeters of new snow on Sunday, right? We still had incidents happen before that. One person was involved, and the snowpack is still made up of junk. Low doesn't mean no avalanches, it says. The day had been a bluebird, mild temps with very little wind until a summit of Cirque Peak where we experienced strong winds in the afternoon. Alpine conditions were highly variable with bulletproof wind, hammered surfaces on rotten facet junk. Ski crampons would almost have made easier travel. Also noted 2 to 3 centimeters, very solid melt-free sun crust on solar aspects about 2,400 meters. We had successful alpine mission until descending off Cirque four-peak. Second skier triggered a wind slab at the top of a cross-loaded gully which propagated onto a more open slope. The avalanche stepped down to the basal early season crust and continued to entrain facets and depth horror. Skier narrowly managed to ski out of it with no injuries but lost some equipment. So again, we're seeing even though the danger isn't that low and it's not that crazy a terrain, still seeing that risk of avalanches before all this happens. So be wise this weekend, friends. Frontal squall looking like coming through some of those regions that got the warning still. I think we'll see some more snow in the Caribou. Risk of a thunderstorm along the coast. So some of that convective weather Mark was talking about showing itself already in Avalanche Canada's diagrams here. Alberta Clipper forming there. BC coast seeing flurries along the southwest ranges of Vancouver Island on Saturday morning. Cannot rule out a lightning strike or two over Vancouver Island. Outflow winds begin to pick up across the northwest coastal ranges. Still mainly cloudy through the day on Saturday. BC interior looking unsettled through the region on Saturday. At least wind will be a lesser factor, except for the Lizard Range, where ridgetop winds will be southwest moderate to strong. Snowfall accumulation will be highly variable. Expect trace to 5 centimeters, locally 10 centimeters. So some snow, even if we're not meeting snowfall criteria, you might see some snow in your regions, especially in the mountains. Heavy snowfall tonight in northern BC. Lots widespread snowfall, particularly for you. Looks like more so rain event for areas the further you go down in the United States into Oregon. Maybe a little bit of snow up in the mountaintops, but if you get over the Rockies, that's a different story, into Idaho and whatnot. Low pressure making heavy snowfall Friday night into Saturday through Caribou, through the Rockies, through Selkirks. That low now parked there off the coast, just kind of biding its time on the northwest sector of this new developing Alberta Clipper. Seeing snow still fairly significantly into areas of northern Alberta, banding itself over to Fort Nelson. Southern BC still seeing fair mix of precipitation as this flow just kind of keeps pushing on in. Could see a lot of snow there for areas in the south coast. We'll have to just guess, like Mark says, what is rain and what is snow. It's really, really hard to determine ahead of time because there's so many light variabilities in this in the modeling. So every model says something a little different, and he tries to give you some context for how things may actually work themselves out. But I see that low coming Saturday evening all the way down to Vancouver Island. A little bit of a short wave there and bending down. See those tight isobars really still visiting some stronger winds up into the North Rockies, it looks like, for Sunday morning. Low still delivering precip. So it's ocean's pretty warm, and this cold air is now pulling across. That's helping create the snowfall that they're going to be experiencing there off the coast. Can't rule out a lightning strike or two through the weekend, they said. Yeah, absolutely. One of those things. So it's looking at the temperatures, looks like it's dialed back a little, maybe, but not by a great deal. Sunday at 2 in the afternoon, minus 21 for Quesnel, 22 Williams Lake. Very, very cold, unnecessary, unhappy cold. Look at that atmospheric river to California still. That's still pretty much on track to play out how we looked at our last forecasts, So yeah, your question, all weekend long, expect a little bit of snow through most parts of BC, right? Check your local forecast and find out. We're going to have to come back and have a look at next week at some point here, but we could be seeing some pretty cold temperatures. I don't like seeing that 26s, 30 Prince George by Monday morning, 34 Fort St. John. A lot of this seems to be playing out as we thought it would. And, that's a bummer. We're hoping for something to change. Still seeing some snow in southern BC, and you're not getting that extreme cold. So that snow is protecting you a little bit. This low is helping fight that cold down. The cold's trying to fight its way down, but this low is trying to bash its way back up there and fight it off. Unfortunately, I don't think it will win. That cold will start to take over at some point. It won't win here in the Caribou. We will see clearing conditions as we come into that new week. Going to be lots to kind of get ourselves through over the course of the weekend, but I think I try to give you a little bit of a picture that heavy snowfall is more or less expected in a lot of regions at different times, different amounts of snow. Some areas a little less, some areas a little bit more, but then we come into this prolonged cold spell after, and we'll wish that this upper level low doesn't seem to want to work itself out, but it looks like we're really in for a cold week next week. I really hope something changes here. I really, really do, but it may be sticking around longer than we want. Maybe. So that's the bad news, right? Hope your wood is in. Hope you're ready for increasingly cold nights for at least the first little while, at least the first half of February, maybe even for us in BC. Frankie McDonald's out there in the town right now. He's out in Sydney, Nova Scotia partying up. Check it out. Frankie says hi. Hi, Frankie. Hi, everyone. Sydney, Nova Scotia from Joey Only.
I'll say hi. I say hi, Joey Only.
Who is it?
Joey Only, the host of Meteorological Weather Report.
Joey, nice to meet you.
Joey Only lives in Wells, British Columbia. He's a really nice guy. I'm friends with him. He runs the Interior Weather in Waters Facebook group. And Joey Only lives in Wells, British Columbia. I'm on his podcast every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Atlantic.
Yeah, actually, we'll just stick to weather today. Maybe we'll talk more and more about things this weekend, what's going on. Obviously, I told you so. Obviously, that's going on right now. But as far as weather goes, that's looking at this the weekend weather for BC. Hit like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Keep coming on back again. Joey Only, Caribou Weather Dude, your hillbilly weatherman up here in the mountains. Okay, bye now.